Hey everybody, welcome back to Linnea Nelson Vlogs. I'm Robert, Linnea's husband. This is a video series about my 2 weeks in Spain and Morocco. I'm leaving Marrakesh for Fez today. Plan to catch the 10:50 train. It'll take me about 6 hours to get there, so I'll be there at 5-ish and then get kind of first impressions of the city before going to my riad. So this day is going to be chill. The one thing I'm kind of concerned about is that it's a very long train ride and it is during the month of Ramadan, so I don't know if there's going to be anywhere to discreetly eat. Probably just going to try to fast as best as I can the entire day, not to offend people. Anyways, let's get to it. So I guess this is a first class train going to Fez. It should take about 6 hours and the seats look comfortable. Overhead storage, I've got storage below the seat. I think there's a possibility that the train might stop in Rabat or Casablanca to let more people on, and there might be more people who join the train car at the last minute, but right now it seems like I might have it to myself. But then again, there's still 20 minutes for people to board and a lot of rail between us and Fez. Because I arrived on a Friday afternoon, all but the main gate into the Fez Medina had been closed, so I began my long walk to reach my lodgings for the evening. Eventually, I made it to the Seraphine Place, the center of copper working in Fez, which happened to be near my riad. I am staying at a place called Dar 7 Louyat, and the first time I went there was a nightmare because it's down 7 sketchy hallways, as specified in the title, 7 moves. So I'm going to show you the route to get there. Okay, so this is the first hallway to it, and then you take a turn around the second hallway. Things get increasingly unnerving the closer you get to it. Third turn coming up. Fourth or fifth turn around this corner. Turn 5 or 6. And then I think turn 6 or 7 is this one. That was 6, I guess. Which means that number 7 is coming even further down this hallway. It's getting a little tricky to film here because there's a ton of stairs and potholes. I think turn 7 now, maybe? And now we are here, I think. Oh yeah, here we are. So, anyways, that feels just like an insane route to go always, but no, it turns out they're just normal streets, just very narrow. In contrast to the streets leading up to it, the central courtyard of Dar 7 Louyat may have been the most serene place I visited in all of Morocco. The Dar was originally built between the 14th and 15th centuries and was likely the home of wealthy merchants and scholars of the nearby Qarawiyyin University, including one who was the personal tutor of one of the sultans of the Morocco's Saadian dynasty. The current owner spent 10 years restoring it to match the art style of other buildings from the time period, like Madrasa Ben Yosef. However, the views from the roof were even more incredible. Wow, when you're down by the souks in the Medina and you're just so claustrophobic getting pushed around, you don't realize how just expansive and incredible this is from up here. It's just like an entirely different experience. This is more than I ever could have imagined. It's so much more than Marrakesh. So I'm in the Tannery district of Fez, which appears to be the major industry around here is leather crafting. It's really interesting. They do all their dyes all naturally, as you'll see in the B-roll I'm about to throw up. They use mint for green, indigo for blue, I want to say turmeric or something else for yellow, and then maybe red, saffron for red, or some kind of clay. There are a bunch of people running scams to try to sell you mint, and then there are also people who let you into their stores to look at the leatherworks for free, and they try to sell you stuff on the way out. A couple things I've heard is that, I don't think the mint is really necessary. If you're a longtime follower of the channel, Linnea has made some crazy bone broth in our apartment over 48 hours. And the smell of the bone broth was way more overpowering than the smell of the leatherworking, so I think the whole mint thing, as long as you're not sensitive to meat smells, is a bit of a scam. But no, it was incredible, just watching all this play out in the traditional ways. They've been doing this forever, and it's just a really interesting experience, and I'm glad I got to see it. Leaving the Tanneries, I ventured further into the sprawling souks and markets of the Medina. As the streets narrowed, I found myself in a human traffic jam caused by a donkey-pulled cart blocking the path in front of a knockoff Apple store and an optometrist. There was something surreal about being forced to wait for a donkey to finish delivering modern consumer goods to stores in a building that genuinely could be 1,000 years old. Eventually, the cart moved, and I decided to leave the claustrophobic Medina for a while. So I found this garden called Jabab El Sanil, and it is an extremely nice break from kind of the chaos and the smells and the sounds of the Medina, and I think it's just outside of the walled part of the city. So I'm just going to enjoy this for a while, taking the breeze, taking the quiet, and just rest for a moment. Orange juice is a huge thing in Morocco, and everywhere you go there are just orange trees in bloom. Not in bloom, but like producing fruit that I guess people are harvesting fresh to make juice in the summer, in the spring and summer. I'm really glad to be resting here for a second. The Medina is getting claustrophobic and overwhelming after multiple days of doing this. It's so hot and crowded, and people are a little bit aggressive about trying to get you to buy things, and it's wearing me down a bit. Kind of as my first impressions, when I talked to the owner of the hotel, he kind of said that Fez is like the spiritual center of Morocco. Fez is much more conservative and traditional than Marrakesh. Just looking at the souks in the Medina, it turns out that this feels not like a tourist trap. It doesn't feel like Times Square. It actually feels like people live here. It's not just people selling cheap, mass-produced fake antiques. It's actually doctors and dentists and optometrists and restaurants and people butchering chickens, making leather, making ironwork, making ceramics. It feels much more authentic. Like, I was actually starting to get kind of bummed out with the Marrakesh portion of the trip because I was like, oh man, maybe this is all just hype towards tourists and it isn't realistic and it's just a semi-faithful reproduction of what it was like in the past year. But no, in Fez, which has the largest Medina and oldest Medina in Morocco and possibly in North Africa, there might be a bigger one in Egypt somewhere, this truly feels like it's been stuck in place for about 1,000 years, and it's incredible. And that's the Muazzin, final call of prayer day, and I guess the cannons going off. This is the Muazzin sound going off at every mosque in the city right now, and they just fired off a couple cannons because everyone is now allowed to like break their fast and have their iftar meal at the end of the day because now it's sunset. This is just... I kind of have to get off the roof though because now it's raining. After a peaceful night's rest at my riad, I set out for an ill-fated journey across the Gibraltar by ferry the following day. So make sure to like and subscribe to see how that went down and to avoid making the same mistakes that I did. Thanks and see you next time.